Dear students, so far we have finished our first two units of basic electrical and electronics engineering subject, and today we will be starting our third unit titled Semiconductor Devices and its Applications. Okay, so in this unit the first topic is going to be PN junction diode. Now, before going to PN junction diode, we want to revise something about P-type and N-type semiconductors. So you know very well, semiconductors usually we will use silicon or germanium as semiconductor, and then to increase the conductivity of these semiconductors we will be adding some impurities. This process is called doping. Okay, you can add either pentavalent impurity or trivalent impurity. Okay, so the example for pentavalent impurity is arsenic. Okay, similarly similarly you can add trivalent impurity, for example boron. Okay, so if you add a pentavalent impurity, usually the silicon will have 4 valence electrons. Okay, so but the Sb atom has 5 valence electrons, so automatically 1 valence electron will be free. This will be for a single atom, so this will act as a free electron, that particular 1 electron. In a similar manner, for a trivalent impurity there will be 3 valence electrons for a boron atom. Okay, and silicon will have 4 valence electrons. In this condition there will be a hole for each boron atom addition. Okay, so this will act as a acceptor and the free electron will act as a donor. Okay, so in a similar manner, if you add multiple Sb atoms, then automatically this will contribute to N-type semiconductor, and if you add multiple boron atoms, this will contribute to P-type semiconductor. So this is all about P-type and N-type semiconductor, which you are already clear. Now, PN junction diode. Now we will be making a single device in which both P-type semiconductor and N-type semiconductor are put together in this manner. You can see the bottom diagram in this particular manner. First there will be a P-type material and then N-type material. From that there will be some metal contact, 2 metal contacts. Okay, so in a single crystal of semiconductor we can call it. Okay, in a single crystal of semiconductor there will be both P-type silicon and N-type silicon. Okay, from this 2 metal are taken out and one is called anode. From the P-type, anode is connected, and to the N-type, cathode. Just like a positive and negative, anode refers to positive and cathode refers to negative terminal. And at the bottom you can see the diode symbol, that is the usual symbol of diode, and usually anode is represented as symbol A, and K is used to represent the cathode terminal. A for anode and K for cathode. And then how the term diode formed? Diode means 2 electrode. You can see anode and cathode. So to represent this diode, 2 electrode, this is the short form of diode. Okay, and then arrow indicates the direction of conventional current through it. So from where to where the conventional current will flow? From anode to cathode the conventional current will flow. And then, so during the fabrication of PN junction diode, depletion region will form. Why? Because the depletion region, that is, there won't be any free charge carriers. That type of region is called a depletion region. Okay, then we have P-type material and N-type material. In this particular diagram, in P-type material there will be holes, extra holes. Okay, apart from the as usual stable bonding, there will be some excess holes. Similarly, in N-type material there will be free electrons. So that free electrons are represented by minus symbol, some dash dotted dash lines, okay, and the free holes are represented by something like circle symbol, okay. So p type and n type material, if you joining this during fabrication, automatically at the boundaries the p type material holes and n type material electron will recombine, okay, will recombine. That means electron and holes will recombine, then automatically there won't be any free charge carriers at the boundary, okay. This is marked inside the dotted blue line, okay. This is marked inside the dotted blue line. You can see some boundary like structure, okay. At the junction this will happen. Junction is nothing but the point where p type material and n type material are intersected, okay, fine. Now what will happen in this particular junction, near to the junction, the holes and the electrons will recombine. At this time particularly the free holes are recombined, okay. So the element will become negative ion, in the p type material. That's why it is represented with a circle with a negative mark, that is a negative ion, okay. Similarly in n type material a electron is lost, so to represent that, a positive ion, so with a plus symbol, red color plus symbol in a circle, that represents a positive ion, okay, fine. So in this particular depletion region there won't be any free charge carriers. p type material will have hole as free charge carriers and n type material will have electron as free charge carriers, okay. And now, so as already told, this will be the reason for forming the depletion region, okay. So there will be some donors in the p type material and acceptor in the n type material, okay. Another name for depletion layer is space charge region, okay, space charge region. And a very important thing, in the depletion region there will be some potential. Why? Because of the presence of negative ion and positive ion, okay. Due to this, some electrostatic field will be formed and it will produce some potential. That potential is particularly called barrier potential or junction potential, and you can see the polarities of that barrier potential. That will be usually negative ion to rebel. The negative ion will be on positive side, right, p type semiconductor side. So that is represented by negative symbol of the battery, and positive symbol of the battery is used to represent the positive ion side that is present in the n type material of the semiconductor near the junction, okay, fine. So far we have discussed about what is p type material and what is n type material, and when during fabrication how the depletion region form, okay, and during forming how the barrier potential is getting formed, okay. So far we have completed, right. And now biasing of diode. Biasing means giving some appropriate external voltage, external DC voltage, usually it will be DC voltage, okay, to get the desired response. What is biasing? To get the desired response we will be supplying some external voltage, okay. This is usually referred to as biasing, okay. Particularly when no biasing is applied, there won't be any charge carriers flow, okay. It will be somewhat, there won't be any charge carriers flow because, and there won't be any there won't be any current, because the charge carrier's motion will be random in nature and it will get cancelled. Okay, so definitely there won't be any current. Okay, and the depletion region will stop the flow of electrons from n type semiconductor to p type semiconductor. Similarly, holes cannot move from p type to n type due to the presence of depletion region in normal conditions. Okay, now so if you want to produce some electric currents, if you want to allow some electric current, we need to make biasing. Okay, as I already told, biasing is nothing but applying some external voltage to get the desired response. So there will be two types of biasing. One is forward bias, shortly called FB, and the another one is reverse bias, shortly called RB. Okay, so the first one we will be saying is forward bias. So in forward bias, you can see at the bottom there is a battery like symbol that represents some DC external voltage. So you must clearly watch the polarity. In forward bias, the positive symbol of the battery is connected to the p type material. So same to same, that is positive to positive, positive terminal of battery to p type material, and similarly negative terminal of battery is connected to n type material. So this particular arrangement is called forward biasing. Okay, right. So if this particular voltage, due to this, if this particular voltage is turned on, this external voltage is turned on, then automatically the electrons present in n side will get repelled due to the negative potential of the external voltage. I repeat, the electrons present in the n type will get repelled due to the applied negative potential. Okay, applied negative external voltage. Okay, so this n type material will try to cross the depletion region, but if the external applied voltage is less than barrier potential, it won't be able to cross the depletion region, right? So if the external applied voltage is less than depletion region, it won't be able to cross the depletion region. Okay, but if the external applied voltage is greater than the barrier potential, then the electrons will be able to cross the depletion region. That is, the depletion region will almost get removed or get insignificant. Okay, at this particular time the electrons will be able to move from n side and it will reach the p side. Okay, and it will reach the p side. There some electron and hole will recombine, and most of the electrons will reach the positive side of the battery again. Okay, due to the attraction from the positive polarity of the external voltage. Okay, this will happen, and it will reach the positive side again. What will happen after reaching the positive side? Again reaching the positive side, then the battery will produce some more electrons due to some chemical reaction. Then again some electrons will move on. Like this the cycle appears. Okay, the cycle will repeat. Okay, in the similar manner the holes will also operate. So it will get repelled by the positive polarity of the external applied voltage, it will get attracted by the negative polarity of the external voltage. Okay, if the applied DC voltage is more than barrier potential, it will be able to cross the depletion region, otherwise it won't be able to cross the depletion region. Okay, right. So from this we can clearly understand the electron flow direction. Okay, so this will be the electron flow direction from negative terminal of the battery to positive terminal of the battery, and the conventional current will flow in the direction of holes. Okay, that is from p to n. So electrons will always flow from n to p, and the conventional current will be in the direction of holes, that is from P to N. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now just some revision of this. So positive terminal of battery is connected to the p-type material as said before, and negative terminal to the n-type material. Okay, and then as already said, positive potential repels the hole towards the junction where they neutralize some of the negative ions, vice versa a negative potential. Okay, in case of forward biased condition, conduction is done by majority current carriers. Okay, right. So there will be something called majority current carriers. So in p-type material there will be some free electrons as well as free holes, but which one is majority? Holes are majority in p-type semiconductors. Similarly, in n-type material there will be some holes, free holes as well as free electrons, but which one is major? Electrons. Free electrons are major when compared to holes. So summarizing, in p-type semiconductor, holes will be a major charge carriers and electrons will be a minor charge carriers, minority charge carriers. In a similar manner, in n-type material, electrons will be the major charge carriers and holes will be the minor charge carriers. So in case of forward biased condition, conduction is done by majority charge carriers. As I already told, the conduction is done by the majority charge carriers, that is in n-type semiconductor it is done by the electrons. Okay, right. Then the second type of biasing is reverse biasing. Reverse biasing, just a opposite one. We will be applying the negative potential to the p-type material and positive potential of the external voltage to the n-type material. Okay, to the n-type material. Right. Now if you are applying this type of potential, then automatically due to the positive potential at the n-type side, okay, positive externally applied potential at the n-type material, the electrons will get attracted toward the external DC voltage, and this will cause some more positive ions, that is deficiency of electrons, because some free electrons will get detached from that particular atom, then the neutrality of the atom will go and that particular atom will turn as positive ion. Okay, that is represented as a red color plus inside a circle, positive ion. Okay, in a similar manner, the negative polarity of the external voltage will attract some holes, free holes. Okay, and due to this, negative ions will be formed. When compared to the no bias condition, there will be only some number of positive ion and negative ion, but if you apply reverse bias, then there will be more number of positive ions and negative ions in the depletion region. That means the width of the depletion region is increased. Okay, so if the width of the depletion region is increased, then definitely the electrons in the n side cannot reach the p-type semiconductor. Okay, and so there won't be any charge carriers conduction due to the majority charge carriers, but still the minority charge carriers, that is the electrons present in the p side and holes present in the n side, has the ability to conduct current. Okay, this is called minority current because it is conducted by the minority charge carriers. Okay, so how the minority current is generated, we will see now in detail. Okay, now in p-type side, just a minute. sorry for the interruption. In p-type side, there will be some electrons, okay, some minimum number of electrons when compared to the free holes. Free electrons will be there in a minimum range, okay. That electrons will get repelled by the externally applied negative potential, and it will try to move towards the n-type region due to the positive polarity of the externally applied voltage, okay. So easily it will cross the depletion region if the externally applied voltage is more than the barrier potential, okay. And then in a similar manner, the negative in the n side, there will be some minor number of holes. It will also be able to reach the p-type region, okay. So automatically this will contribute the minority current. Fine. So how this minority charge carriers are produced? This is very important. How this minority charge carriers will get increased அப்படின்னு கூட பார்க்கலாம், okay. So if temperature is increased, that is the ambient temperature is increased, then the covalent bond will get broken. Okay. At this time there will be more number of free electrons and as well as free holes, okay. So the holes will join the major charge carriers and the electrons will join the minor charge carriers in the p-type region. Similarly, due to temperature increase, covalent bond in the n-type material will also get broken. Some free holes will get produced. That free holes will act as minority charge carriers in the n-type region, okay. So if the temperature get increased, automatically there will be more minority charge carriers, right. So this type of minority carriers is minority charge carriers producing some movement, and it will be called as reverse saturation current. What is that? Reverse saturation current, okay. The current produced by the minority charge carriers are termed as reverse saturation current, and you should always note that it will increases with temperature. Usually for the silicon it will be in nano ampere range, and for germanium diode it will be in micro ampere range. That's why silicon is always preferred when compared to germanium for most of the semiconductor applications. I repeat, leakage current is one of the, this can be termed also as leakage current or reverse saturation current or minority charge carrier current. This is one of the undesired factor. This is not desired in a semiconductor, okay. So we want the leakage current or reverse saturation current to be less. For silicon diode, this is comparatively less when compared to the germanium diode. That's why we will always prefer silicon diode instead of germanium diode, okay. Fine. So far we have discussed about the basics of p-n junction diode, the formation of depletion region, and then biasing, forward bias and reverse bias. In forward bias and reverse bias, how it works, okay. As the next topic, we will be seeing the VI characteristics of diode. VI, as usual, voltage and current. V represent voltage and I represent current. So the V is represented in the x-axis and I is represented in the y-axis, okay. So you can see the x-axis in the right hand side forward bias voltage, and left hand side reverse bias voltage, and y-axis in the top side forward current, in the reverse in the bottom side reverse current, okay. So they are doing some experiment with the p-n junction diode. If they slightly increase the forward bias voltage, then how much current is getting produced? They have plotted this graph. Similarly, when they are increasing the reverse bias voltage, how much current is produced, okay. They have plotted that, okay. So this is the VI characteristics of diode. This is the plot, okay. And here you can clearly see, up to a particular threshold voltage or knee voltage, usually we will call this as knee voltage. Okay, up to that there will be very less current because the voltage, forward bias voltage, is less than the barrier potential. When it crosses Vk, that is knee voltage, then the barrier potential becomes less when compared to the forward bias voltage, and the depletion region will get insignificant, and the charge carriers will easily move. This will contribute more current. Okay, so you can see the sudden increase in the current, okay, from A to B particularly. And what happens in the reverse bias? So in the reverse bias there will be some minimum charge carrier current. So due to the minority charge carriers, okay, there will be some minimum current up to particular voltage. At certain voltage, that is called breakdown voltage. If the reverse bias voltage crosses the breakdown voltage, then automatically the diode will get damaged and there will be more reverse current. Automatically there will be more reverse current and the diode will get damaged. This will damage the diode. So always the diode should be operated below the breakdown voltage during reverse bias. So as I said previously, there are three different points A, B, C. From A to B, it is less than the barrier potential. Okay, for silicon diode, 0.7 is the knee voltage. So when the input forward voltage is greater than 0.7, then automatically it will enter the region of more current. Okay, so from at the point A, zero bias condition. From point A to B, forward bias voltage less than 0.7 volt. From point B to C, particularly in C, it will equally, point C correspond to the where the forward voltage approximately equal the barrier potential, and the external bias voltage and the forward current have continued to increase. Okay, right? And then there is something called the diode DC or static resistance. You know very well, by Ohm's law, V equal to IR. That means automatically R equal to V by I. Okay, so diode resistance, that is marked as RD. RD equal to VD by ID. Just some suffix D is added to represent diode. Okay, if forward biased, just suffix is VF divided by IF. F is the suffix. Similarly, if reverse biased, R is the suffix. This is something called a static resistance or DC resistance. Okay, why? Because this will be a constant one, this won't be changed. Okay, but there is something called AC or dynamic resistance. Okay, AC or dynamic resistance, and this will be found using the formula called RD equal to del VF divided by del IF. Usually del VF represents the change in the forward voltage with respect to the change in the forward current. Okay, now you can see the forward bias plot. In the forward bias plot, from one point to another point, the forward voltage is getting increased. That is marked as del VF. Particularly for the same thing, the del IF is also getting increased. Okay, you have to note, for a particular del VF, the del IF is very small. For another del VF, the second del VF, the del IF is very high. Okay, that's why it is termed as dynamic. That is the changing one, dynamic resistance. It will change from one point to another point. Okay, so it won't be a constant, but the DC resistance or static resistance will be a constant, but this dynamic resistance won't be a constant, and this is the formula for computing the dynamic resistance. So as previously told, there will be less leakage current for silicon, and at the same time it has more knee voltage, cut-in voltage when compared to the germanium. That is, the knee voltage for silicon is 0.7, but for germanium it is 0.3. Similarly, the breakdown voltage is also very less for germanium when compared to silicon, right? So on summarizing, we have discussed today about the basics of p-type material, n-type material, how the p-n junction is formed, what is p-n junction diode, okay, what is the symbol of p-n junction diode, and then we have discussed about no bias condition, the formation of depletion region, okay, the formation of barrier potential, and then two types of biasing, forward bias, reverse bias, and how it works during forward bias and reverse bias. After this, we have discussed about the VA characteristics of diode. Finally, we have concluded with the comparison between silicon and germanium characteristics. Fine, thank you.